If you've ever felt like your paid ads were struggling, like you weren't getting very good results with them, and you might have even shut them off, you might have been running ads and then you shut them off because they just weren't bringing you the result you desired, this video is made directly for you. To be clear, I spend around $1 million a month in ads, or manage around $1 million a month. I don't personally spend $1 million a month, but my clients, across my clients, my portfolio spends about $1 million every single month on ads, probably like 1.2 mil at this point. We generated $10 million last year for us and our clients. We have a 20 million follower portfolio, hundreds of clients, helped hundreds of different industries. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to fix any sort of paid ads issues that you're running into. And there's typically three main things that can contribute to issues with paid ads not converting at the rate that you hoped or you want. And so here's some Stripe screenshots to show you that I know what I'm talking about. My goals of this channel, I'm not here to sell you a course. I'm not here to sell you some paid ads training, or not selling you high roast or anything like that. My goal with this channel is purely just to build a community of cool people, gain some reciprocity with the world, and attract top talent. And all that I ask is that you give me some feedback. If you absolutely hate this video, go leave some hate in the comments. Leave, dislike the video, leave some hate. And if you find it valuable, pay the fee, like the video, subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. So today, I'm going to be going over the three main things that are the biggest problems that I see that most people make with paid ads, especially when they're starting out. But also, like, there's a lot of people who spend a lot of money in paid ads that literally don't even do these things, which is complete and utter insanity to me. So the first thing is just like knowing your KPIs, right? So we always set KPIs for literally every step of the funnel, right? So I'll show you like an example of how we do our financial models. You might have seen some other people talking about financial modeling. I think it's super, super important. It's one of the most important things that you can have is a solid financial model, right? So you need to know your KPIs and you need to know the benchmarks for each number so you can determine what is the actual bottleneck. What's the actual thing holding the ads back, right? So when I used to run ads, like back in the day when I was first getting into ads and I had no clue what I was doing, we basically would go out and we would just spend money on ads and basically just throw money away. And we were doing this for ourselves to try to get clients. And we determined for a while that ads didn't work. We were working with an agency. The agency was dog shit. And we've had plenty of bad experiences with agencies in the past. The big thing here is that we developed the concept of like ads don't work, and we had this limiting belief, and it's not true. It's simply not true. There's somebody making ads work, and ads can literally work for anyone. They're a lot more profitable than sending outbound or wasting your time. This strategy is a lot more profitable in my opinion. So we have what's called the good, great, and intolerable metrics. So for everything we do, we have three different metrics that we track, or three different KPIs that we have. We have a good metric, a great metric, and an intolerable metric. I believe I got this from Jeremy Haynes, but I might have stole it from somebody else. I don't remember, but I do really like this framework. It really helps out a lot when we're going through this. So next thing is focusing on top of funnel first. This is still in the same bullet point with the KPIs. Focus on like the top funnel issue first. A lot of people will focus on the things like how can I get better at sales, or how can I get better at like certain things like that. That stuff like literally does not matter if you don't have any leads. So getting leads in the door is the first thing, right? And so here's an example of a financial model that we do in Google Sheets. It's a few things that we actually use Google Sheets for. This is like just a sample one here. We'll obviously pull in these rows using things like make.com, and we'll have either us or a VA will go in and manually put in this data so that we can have a actual model of what's going on. But we basically just put in here, okay, how many impressions did we get? And then this is an auto-calculated field, and I can actually pull this up. So here's the sheet. So for example here, we can visualize this a lot better because we can see like in this box here, we can see, okay, is this good, great, or intolerable? So here, if I put, 4, we're going to get, okay, it's decent, it's good. If I put 1 or like 80 cents, right, it's going to be green. It's going to be really great. And then if it's over $5, it's 7, then it's intolerable. And so I can visualize this as I fill out all these different fields and look at my KPIs for like this specific funnel. Obviously, each funnel has different KPIs. It's not like set KPIs for every funnel, but these are the KPIs that we use, And so we basically build this out as good, great, and intolerable. And on each of these, we can see like, okay, is the show rate trash or is it decent? Is the cost per booked call good or decent or terrible? And so we can see that and really model out like what's the real bottleneck. That's ultimately what you want to solve for in ads, is like where is the traffic. Like obviously you're not getting the result you want. The result you want is bottom of funnel closes, money in the door, right? Some people say that like people care about leads. They don't. That's BS. People care about money. They care about how can I make more money than I spend, right? So somewhere across this process, if you're not ROAS positive or you're not, 2, 3, 4, 5x ROAS or more even, we've had clients that have gotten a 52x ROAS, right? If you're not ROAS positive, then it's obviously something wrong with one of these different boxes, right? So that's one thing that you really need to figure out is like, where is the bottleneck in this and what's the easiest metric to actually, like, if we fix that, would fix the rest of the funnel because more things would flow through, right? So that's kind of what you're looking for here. So that is, that's point number one. Financial model, know your KPIs and have KPIs that are set so that you can actually get, real results with it, right? Now, the next thing is funnel congruency. This is something that a lot of people miss. They don't really focus on how can I make sure my funnel is congruent all the way throughout. So the creatives need to be congruent with the opt-in page, the VSL page, your application needs to be congruent, your book a call needs to be congruent, and understand that like most copywriters are speds. So if you're paying a copywriter, even if you're using Claude, like they just don't think a funnel congruency is one of the main things. They think like, how can I just get, this copy done, right? Like copywriters, we don't hire copywriters anymore. There's literally 0 point. We hire VAs that use ChatGPT or Claude, and we might hire people who know what they're doing with copy, but realistically, copywriters aren't needed in 99% of scenarios, right? And so you need to just create as much clarity as possible for your audience. And that's something a lot of copywriters mess up. They try to make these words sound fancy or like, they use big words like affluent or architecture or something like that. And I'll show you an example of where I used architecture. But people just don't know what that means. They're not familiar with it, right? So making sure that the funnel is like fully congruent is super, super important. So that's just kind of one thing that I would say here is make sure your funnel is congruent. And make sure it's clear. Make sure people are very, very clear on what next steps they should take. So I'll give you a good example here. This is one offer that we were running up. And this was the original page, the original headline. It said, get 15 qualified bookings every month by leveraging our turnkey AI architecture. Book your free implementation call below. And this is a calendar. It just hadn't loaded, right? So you get the idea here. This is supposed to be a calendar page after they've watched a VSL, after they've gone through the opt-in, right? And this one didn't have an opt-in specifically. But what we were finding is that we just had like a really low booking rate because we did our financial model. We saw, okay, our cost per booked call is very high here, and the booking rate is where the actual bottleneck is, right? So now we can look at this page and say, okay, maybe this headline just isn't clear. Maybe it's not congruent because it wasn't necessarily congruent with the other things before, like with the headlines on the opt-in page, the headlines on the VSL itself. This was kind of the message we were trying to get across, but it wasn't super congruent. And so we changed it to make the headline be the CTA to book in the call, right? And again, this white box is the logo because I don't want to dox this offer to where people go out and find it and then start, running it up and wasting a bunch of credits and whatnot, trying to funnel hack us. To be clear, we changed the headline to book your free AI implementation call, or book your free implementation call with one of our executive AI experts. And again, here the white is almost like the highlight. It's something else that we did. It was kind of interesting. We originally had it highlighted in this gray, but we decided to change it to white. So the book your free implementation call just pops more. So that's the CTA. It's very clear what they need to do, and then they're going to get a free custom AI roadmap worth $497 for their business, right? So this makes it very, very clear on what they're supposed to do. To be clear, a lot of people will put headlines like get 15 plus qualified bookings every single month, and then they don't get any bookings and they wonder why. It's like, okay, people don't know what action they're supposed to take. So this is very, very clear on what action they're supposed to take. They're supposed to book their free implementation call with this calendar below. Even at the bottom of this calendar, it says, please choose a time slot or something like that. Let me pull it up. So even at like the bottom of this calendar, it says choose a date and time above because people are speds. So even, no matter if you're selling to rich people, general public, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the level of affluence. You still need to like be very clear on what they need to do. And so this is like the bottom of the page, just like the footer down below. But this says choose a date and time above to be very, very clear on the action that they should take. And again, a lot of this comes from getting rid of unnecessary steps and getting rid of friction, right? The less friction you have, the more leads are going to come through. They might not be as qualified, but this is like a moving scale, right? So So your goal is to make the process as frictionless as possible if you need more leads, and to add friction to qualify the leads better, right? So once you have this deal, if you have an issue where you're getting no leads, then you just need to remove friction. If you have an issue where you're getting a ton of leads but none of them are qualified, you just need to focus on getting rid of unnecessary steps, or adding extra steps that are necessary, right? You don't ever want to have unnecessary steps or just like dumb things that are just time wasters. But get rid of the steps that aren't actually progressing people towards the action that you want them to take. And so if you have like a ton of leads but no quality, you need to focus on how can I add more pieces of friction, such as an opt-in page. That's kind of an unnecessary piece of friction in some cases. But adding different things on there to, get rid of those unnecessary steps. And another thing is know your team, right? So the opt-in page is kind of a huge argument that a lot of people like to have. Some people argue against it. Some people argue for it. I like to have the opt-in page because I know that we have a killer sales team who's going to dial those leads, and our pickup rate's insane. Our actual dial rate's insane on most offers. But we have some offers that we run that the scalability is just not good, right? The scalability of the sales team, people don't even want a sales team a lot of times. They'll be like, hey, I don't want to have to pay a sales team. I don't want to have to manage a sales team. And so we can basically just get rid of the opt-in, get rid of the setter, and run it that way. And so that can increase profit a lot as well. But know your team. Know if they're salespeople or not. Know how qualified they are to actually be able to call those leads. And point number 3 is testing cadence and tracking. So we always like to have a testing cadence anytime we run ads. This is super, super, super crucial. If you don't have a testing cadence and you're not tracking anything, if you're not tracking, you're slacking, obviously. But having a testing cadence is very, very good to do, and also having a set day in this cadence to actually track the data, right? And so instead of just like testing creatives randomly or just running 3 creatives for a month, a lot of people do that. They'll just test like 3 creatives. We have a weekly schedule, so we launch new creatives every single week, right? And so this is kind of like an example of like what our testing cadence looks like, right? So let me just make myself smaller here. So one thing you will notice here is we never run ads on Sundays. It's not because it's like, oh, we need a day off or anything like that. We just never have found good results on Sundays ever. So we've seen big ad agencies do that. We've seen a lot of different people do that. And so that's kind of what we do as well. We typically don't run ads on Sundays. Sometimes we will, depending on the offer itself, but typically we don't. And it also gives salespeople, an extra day to kind of recoup. Because we can typically pack out their calendar, to be clear, before the Sunday. So we run ads typically 6 days a week, right? So Monday, actually, I'll kind of start from here because this is like really where the new ads process starts, right? So on Friday, we're going to think of different angles, and Saturday, we're also going to be thinking of different angles, scripting the ads. We typically take like 2 days to script the ads, and we're not obviously spending 2 whole days scripting the ads. It's just we give ourselves time to actually think of, okay, what could be new angles, do our market research, everything like that, and make sure that everything is just dialed before we film those ads, right? On Sunday, we turn everything off, and then we turn our new ads on that we work on Monday through Thursday. And so I'll kind of walk you through that process now. Typically, new ads and winners go on Monday. We load them into the ads manager on Sunday just to make sure there's no issues. There's no sizing issues, nothing where we need to plug the team, ping the team. And so that will be something that we, would do on Sunday. We'll load new ads into the ads manager. Tuesday is going to be our recording day pretty much always. Sometimes it's Wednesday, and then this stuff just basically gets pushed on 2 days later. But typically we're going to record on Tuesday. Then the editing team will work on them on Wednesday. We'll get them to them on Tuesday. They'll be able to work on them Wednesday and Thursday, and then also be able to give us revisions or the ability to send in revisions on Thursday. So that way they have Friday and Saturday to really finish them up, polish them up, dial them in. So that way we can still be on schedule. So that's why we have these 2 days of just kind of like thinking and time, because that's kind of what we do. And again, it's not as like rigid as you might think. Like we might record on a Friday, we might record on any day of the week, and if I see a good opportunity to record, and there's something like, I'll give you an example. I was at I believe it was in Miami. I was at the 10X like headquarters. It was in Florida somewhere. And I basically went there and filmed an ad at the 10X, headquarters, because it's something that people knew in the space that we were in, right? So if you don't know, 10X is by Grant Cardone. He owns a bunch of like real estate and things like that. And there's a big 10X logo, one of the places that I was at. So I went up and was basically going to record an ad creative in front of the 10X building, and that's exactly what I did, right? And so that might not have been on a Tuesday. It just happened to be when I was there. And so we obviously took advantage of that and was able to record on a different day of the week. But this is kind of what our cadence looks like for testing and everything like that. And then also on Thursday, we're doing all of our tracking. So we determine the performance, we fill in our financial model, and we typically have a VA do this like almost every day. But we'll go in and actually see, okay, which specific ads perform the best, not just which campaigns perform the best, which specific ads need to be turned on and off, and everything like that, and then kind of make decisions from there, right? So we always want to have, after we upload new ads, like 3 days. I found that like 3 to 4 days, kind of like the sweet spot before we determine, the ad's performance and how well it's, going to be, how well it's going to perform essentially. So this is kind of how we schedule our testing cadence. But yeah, so these are the 3 things that I recommend you do if you need to fix your funnels or fix your ads. If your paid ads are not performing well, these are 3 things you need to do. 1, financial model. 2, make sure your funnels are congruent. And 3, testing cadence and tracking. So if you found this video valuable, go ahead and drop me a like, subscribe. And if you didn't, go leave some hate in the comments. Otherwise, I'll leave my personal number on the screen. So if you need help with your ads, literally anything you need, again, my goal here is to build a community, to connect with as many people as possible. This is my personal cell. So just shoot me a text. Text or WhatsApp me, and just text me like where you came from, like the name of this video, so I know you're not like, somebody trying to sell me dick pills or something. Because like I get so much spam, or like some toll road violation or car extended warranty or something like that. Just text me which video you came from, and then also another thing that I'll ask: don't just text me, yo. Text me a question, text me a little bit of insight on you, and then I can be happy to give you free advice. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm here for. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was valuable for you. Again, shoot me a text, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Peace.